in this room and throughout the state of Iowa a belated Happy Mother's Day. Um, our family had a great Mother's Day. I was with my um, mother-in-law yesterday, and of course my wife and children and spouses and the grandchildren. So, Lieutenant Governor and I are pleased to be joined this morning by Ashley Jared, Communications Director for the Iowa Finance Authority, and John Dunn, President of the Des Moines Area Association of Realtors. Today, we're helping launch a home ownership campaign that will run through June for the National Home Ownership Month. It will explain why I'm accompanied with these interesting posters this morning. Homeownership is alive and well in Iowa. We're very proud of that. In fact, I was just talking with my son-in-law over the weekend. They refinanced their house and interest rates are low, and a lot of that's going on. Homes are selling very fast. A lot of condos are being built here in Des Moines and East Village. And so it's kind of an exciting time for ownership of homes. Iowa is the fifth highest ownership, has the fifth highest ownership rate in the whole country. And this is good news for Iowa as the real estate industry is a key driver in our economy. In Iowa, the real estate industry accounts to 14.6% of our gross domestic product. We have a strong housing market leading into this summer, and the Iowa Finance Authority, the Iowa Association of Realtors, and the Iowa Mortgage Association have teamed up to ensure Iowa home buyers have the resources they need at their fingertips through a home ownership month campaign called 2500 bucks. The campaign plays off the various terms used for money, including bucks, clams, George Washingtons, to highlight the advantage of having 2,500 of them when purchasing a home. Iowa home buyers are encouraged to visit iowahousehunt.com beginning May 23rd to learn about home buying process in Iowa and the resources that are available to them, including the 2,500 down payment assistance grant through the Iowa Finance Authority and an opportunity to enter and win a sweepstakes for $2,500. Now, I'm pleased to turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds to tell you more.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Governor Branstad. And I too want to wish a belated happy Mother's Day to all mothers in the state. For any of us that have purchased a home, we know that it's one of the biggest decisions that you'll make in your lifetime. It's also can be one of the most complex. The 2,500 bucks campaign will help simplify the process by providing a wealth of information on a website dedicated to Iowa home buyers. And some of the information that will be included on the website is the steps to buying a home, frequently asked questions, $2,500 down payment assistant programs that are available, and much more is included on the website. As Governor Branstad mentioned, you'll also be able to enter a sweepstakes contest for 2,500 on the website. However, you do not currently need to be in the process of buying a home. The goal of the campaign is to really educate Iowans about the process so that when they are ready to purchase, they'll be prepared. To make things interesting, you can also earn another entry into the $2,500 sweepstakes by posting a photo of yourself with an item inspired by a team for cash on the Iowa Finance Authority's Facebook page. So this could be hanging with a bunch of friends named Benjamin or rolling in the dough. The campaign is encouraging Iowans to be creative. Entries will be accepted into the sweepstakes and the Facebook contest May 23rd through July 4th. And to tell you more, I'd like to welcome Ashley of the Iowa Finance Authority to the podium. Ashley?
Thank you. And thank you again to Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds for helping us announce this 2,500 bucks campaign this summer. I'd also like to thank the Iowa Association of Realtors and the Iowa Mortgage Association for partnering with us on this campaign. The partnership is one that just makes sense. Lenders and realtors in Iowa are the gateway to homeownership for Iowans, and so we value their partnership. The 2,500 bucks campaign really emphasizes how much $2,500 really is. How would you like to walk into a new house that you're looking at purchasing, seeing 2,500 Benjamins hanging out, or 2,500 bucks filling the room? So it's really emphasizing that $2,500 is a big deal for Iowa homebuyers for down payment assistance and closing costs. In addition to highlighting the down payment assistance through the Iowa Finance Authority, the iowahousehunt.com website will also emphasize our other programs that people might not be aware of, including mortgage credit certificates and military homeownership assistance down payment assistance grant as well. Details about the programs, as Lieutenant Governor mentioned, will be available May 23rd through July 4th for the campaign period. And we really emphasize anyone. You don't necessarily still need to be in the house hunt search. If you're interested in participating, you can go and sign up for the sweepstakes. And we really encourage you to share your photo on our Facebook page. For another chance, we will be giving 2 lucky house hunters a $2,500 gift card through the sweepstakes. And with that, I will go ahead and introduce John Dunn, the president of the Des Moines Area Association of Realtors. Thank you.
Super. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate that. I'm here representing the Iowa Association of Realtors as well as DMAR. We just really appreciate the partnership. And when home buyers are buying homes, 90% of them are financed. So you need to have strong mortgage lenders, strong relationships. Specifically with the first-time home buyers, IFA really comes into play with that the $2,500 helps them get to more home ownership. Nationally, right now, home ownership is about 63.6%, where we in Iowa are at 72.8%. I'm really proud of that number. Obviously, that goes full circle with low crime, good homes for kids to go to school and education. The whole 9 yards goes with home ownership. So we are very pleased to be part of that. And from the realtor perspective, there's over 6,000 of us out there today in Iowa. We really help with that education process as well. Not only just getting right with right lenders to finance things, but also what style of home you want, what school district you want to live in, those types of things to help them through the process when they write the contract, negotiate it. Today with in that first time home buyer market, inventory is a little bit low. And having a good realtor walk you through that process, through if it's a multi-offer situation or if it's just a regular one to negotiate that contract and get good terms for the buyer. So again, Ashley, we appreciate the partnership with IFA, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay, we'd open it to questions on this subject first. We have questions on this?
Two Iowans will win the $2,500 gift card July 4th.
But the grant, yeah, there's, if you reach if you meet the qualifications, the grant's available, but the $2,500 is in addition to that. And we also, of course, have the veterans $5,000 grant that's also available.
No, our goal with the campaign is awareness. We know that Iowans might not be looking today. They might not turn around and buy a home within the next week or so, but they might have a friend or neighbor or themselves on the line. So you don't need to be in the process currently.
I'm visiting with my children and their spouses, and most of them, in fact, within the last couple of years, 2 of them have bought homes, and then my son-in-law and daughter just refinanced theirs, and they were able to reduce their payment period by 6 years by refinancing. So that's another thing that people are doing now, because interest rates are at historic lows, and it's a good time to refinance as well as to purchase homes. And as you probably noticed here in the Des Moines area, there's a lot of condos and townhouses as well as homes that are being built. Frankly, right here in East Village and in downtown Des Moines. Other questions? No, this is statewide. Yes, it is available. And in fact, I just met with the economic development people in Hancock County at the hospital in Britt this week, and indicated to them that I thought it would be good to have the Iowa Finance Authority come up, because as we talked about jobs, and one of the real challenges they have is finding housing for employees. And so that is an issue all over the state. I was in Winterset recently also, and there's a bunch of new homes being built in Winterset. But the problem is finding contractors, and especially in some of these rural communities, to build these homes. So the finance authorities programs can be helpful in that as well. Other questions? So we take questions on other subjects as well. Yes. Well, I don't know anything about that. First of all, I've had a close and good relationship with nursing home people for a long period of time. So it's not, I meet with them on a regular basis. But this particular piece of legislation is not something I recommended, not something I was even aware of. And of course, as I said, we review and decide on all pieces of legislation. So this is something that happened during the legislative process. Well, I think he's absolutely right. Think about it. I've looked at the profile that Donald Trump has indicated that he said he's interested in somebody with military experience, but then he thought having congressional experience would also be maybe even more important. Well, she's got both, and she comes from a key state, and she also in 2014 came out of nowhere to win a very decisive victory to the Senate. She's a very well-respected person that I think can work with the other people in Congress. But she also has a background having served in county government, having served in state government. She certainly was a team player that we enjoyed working with here in the state of Iowa. So I think that if you want to put together an ideal profile as somebody that would be a great vice presidential candidate, and I think she'd be helpful to Republicans in Iowa as well. So obviously it's the candidate's decision. But when I get an opportunity to visit with Donald Trump, I'll certainly indicate that I think that we have a senator from Iowa that could be a great asset to the country and to him. I have not. Well, yeah, and we do whenever we have an opportunity to do that, we do that. In fact, the
did it.
treasurer's office, if you had been, and I think at least one reporter was at that meeting of the executive council, the treasurer came before us and said, we think we can renegotiate these bonds and save about $3 million a year. You know, we're spending $55 million a year to pay for those bonds that happened during the Culver administration. I was very critical of that debt financing and thought it wasn't a good deal. And this particular situation, the treasurer feels, based on the market right now, that we still have about 20 years to pay, 19 or 20 years to pay $55 million. So this could maybe reduce it to about 52 million or something like that, depending upon what we get. So yeah, whenever we can legally renegotiate bonds to better protect the interests of the taxpayers of the state, we're going to do it. But not getting into the debt in the first place makes more sense. The nation got about $19 trillion of national debt. And that's a great concern, I think, to a lot of Americans, and the establishment politicians in DC of both parties have ignored it too long. And I think Donald Trump recognizes this is something that people care about. Well, again, it all depends upon what is, there are some bonds that can be renegotiated. There are other bonds that can't be. So, I just don't think you should make a blanket decision on this. It's interesting. The establishment has put him down at every step along the way, and he has beat them every time. So I guess I would say we have an unconventional candidate here that a lot of people have underestimated, and again and again and again said, oh, we're going to have a bloody contested convention. And look at it. He's already wrapped up the nomination. Hillary Clinton hasn't. Everybody said it's going to be a coronation for her. She hasn't, and she's going to get clobbered probably tomorrow in West Virginia as well. So don't underestimate Donald Trump. There are 16 other candidates that did, and they're all out of the race. So I'm not one to underestimate, and this is a very unusual, unconventional year. And, he's going to run against Hillary Clinton, the ultimate insider. And I think people are sick and tired of the inside politics of Washington, D.C. of the last couple of decades and want a change. Oh, I was one of many. Well, I'll be the very first to admit, this summer when he came to the Iowa State Fair, flew his helicopter around and all of this stuff, I thought, this is not going to last. Well, I was wrong, as have been most of the pundits and political people. There were a lot of governors, senators, people that we thought had a lot more conventional political experience. But I think a lot of Americans don't want more of the same. They want something different. And, he would be the first that since Eisenhower, I think, that had not held political office if he were elected president. But I think a lot of people are saying right now, the politicians have screwed things up so bad in this country. We're so deeply in debt. We've lost respect internationally. We're at risk. And I think people are willing to look at somebody that's different and unconventional. Yes, I am going to. Because he's going to be the nominee of our party. And I'm a team player, and I'm going to support him.
How do you lead the party, though? Much division is happening. Paul Ryan, with Vanderplat saying he's sitting, Steve King saying he's take a deep breath. How do you get people together? How do you avoid having it?
Well, first of all, I say I think there's some time. People thought we're going to have this bloody battle at the convention. Well, Trump has prevented that, or maybe his opponents have just thrown in the towel and realized that it was futile to continue to the battle. He's going to be the nominee. So I think we need to get used to that fact, and we need to obviously do our best to try to bring the party together, recognizing, boy, there is a clear choice between an ultimate insider that's been part of the Obama administration that's put us into $19 trillion of national debt. We've lost the respect of our friends. I mean, we've lost the respect of our enemies and the support of our friends internationally. The country's in trouble financially. And I think just a lot of people are looking for somebody with business experience that's knows how to get things done. Oh, I'm not going to go over everything that anybody has said. My goodness. I guess. Well, let me just say this. People are so hung up on political correctness, today. And he is just the epitome of non-politically correct. And a lot of people love that because they say, well, that's exactly what I'm thinking, but I wouldn't dare say it. And he's dared say things. Now, do I agree with everything he said? Oh, by no means. And I think some of it was said in humor, and some of it was said, for effect and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is still The American people need to choose a direction for this country. Do we want to continue the direction we're going and choose the ultimate insider, which is Hillary Clinton? Or do we want somebody that's going to shake things up that might be unpredictable, but certainly is a new direction for America? And I think there's a lot of, why have we had record turnout in all these Republican primaries and caucuses? We've had record turnout. And who's driven that? To a great degree, it's been Donald Trump. So I'm one that's willing to say, I underestimated. I didn't believe this would work, but he has now won the nomination. I'm going to support him. Right. Well, first of all, we're going to be continuing to look at how much of that is because of timing. Remember, we moved back the filing deadline for farm tax returns because the issue on 179 write-offs hadn't been resolved and things like that. Just like last year, we could see because of the avian bird flu and because of the farm situation that was going to be a tight budget year. And I've said that from the beginning this year. And so we're going to carefully review all levels of spending. But the good news is because we have had these 5-year projections and because we've been conservative and careful in what we've recommended and what we've approved, we're in a much better shape than most states. You can look around the country and you see states that are billions of dollars in debt and have huge problems. And a lot of it is because of, they do like Illinois, the debt financing, and they have the most, state and local debt per capita, and they have unfunded liability in their pension system that is horrendous. We're not in that situation. We're going to continue to be very careful, but I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to get through this without no across the board cuts and with the guidelines that we have in place. So what we will carefully review all levels of spending as we always do. Well, I am familiar with Teen Challenge. I've been to Teen Challenge many times. I think they do phenomenal work. I'm not familiar with all of the different programs around the state, but I have contributed to and supported Teen Challenge, and I have seen that's turned lives around and made a real difference. So I think that we need to respect. You have sincere people that with religious beliefs that have made a real difference and reached out and helped people with addictions. And I respect that. And I don't think we should condemn people with religious views getting involved to help people with addictions. Addictions are a challenging and difficult thing, and there are many different approaches. For some, I think a faith-based approach has been successful. For others, a more conventional approach might be better. But I don't want to pass judgment on which is the best. I think it does depend on the individual. Well, that's a difficult question. I think we all need to try to do what we can. If we recognize we have a friend or family member that has an addiction, to try to reach out to them, to try to be there for them, and to try to help them identify what is the best approach to deal with that situation. And I don't know that state regulation is the answer, but I do think it is having caring family and friends that are there at a critical time and try to do what they can to help them. And I know many people with addictions have gone through dozens of different approaches that haven't succeeded. And yet I just know from my personal experience with Teen Challenge that they have succeeded in cases where many others have failed. So I think we got to be really careful, but I think we need to be caring and thoughtful people. And we need to recognize there are a lot of people today that are facing addictions, and these can be extremely difficult to overcome. And we need to try to help them find what makes the most sense for them. Yes. And it's at Colfax. I would encourage you to go out and visit with them. I have been there many times. Van and Bonnie have promoted. One of the things they do is encourage people to donate automobiles and things like that. I've been there on a number of occasions. I have met with people that have gone through the program, and it's a pretty extensive program. And it's it's a program where they stay on the campus, but then they also have, and I think they have a program for both men and women, and then they also have kind of a program in Omaha where they kind of reentry program. I put a call into my friend, Governor Chris Christie, who, as you know, is supporting Donald Trump. And I've talked with Sam Clovis, and I intend to sometime between now and the convention, hopefully get an opportunity to visit directly with Donald Trump. Well, I did tell him that one person that I think he should consider would be Joni Ernst. And just as I've told you, she's a military combat veteran who has served in county, state, and now federal level. She's well respected by her colleagues in the Congress. She's a proven vote getter at the county, state, and for the United States Senate in Iowa. And nobody thought she could beat Braley, but she won by over 8 points. And so she's the kind of candidate that I think could be a great running mate to Donald Trump, and certainly could be a great asset on the ticket in this battleground state of Iowa.
Well, I'm going to let Joni make that decision, and it's up to her. I talked to her yesterday at the 185th send-off ceremony, and, Joni is focusing on serving Iowa, and she's doing it really well. I think she's off to a great start. She's already landed legislation on the president's desk that hadn't happened before, and so she's worked across the aisle to make that happen. I have a great deal of confidence in Joni, and she needs to be the one to make that decision. So I'm really proud of what she's done. Well, we just talked about Iowa. We talked about the 185th. That was really the focus. That was Joni's former battalion. So she was, very honored to be there and to be a part of that. And so we spent a lot of time talking about our men and women that have just, signed on to serving in Afghanistan for a year. But it is thanked her for what she was doing. And just, I said, your name is being speculated. General or also said that. And she indicated that, she's focused on serving Iowa right now, but she has a tremendous background. She is an amazing young woman, and I'm just really proud of her accomplishments and what she's done.
Okay.